99% rule. What is the 99% rule? The 99% rule basically says this, that everything we create is already created. It means the 99% of the creation process is already completed before you see any physical evidence in your reality. Here's the issue. We have been trained and conditioned to look and not believe because we don't see any forward progress or momentum. So we don't see the physical evidence. So we condition ourselves to look for the absence. But here's the key now. By focusing on the absence of the physical evidence of your creation, you are unconsciously pushing away the very thing that you desire. Think about that. Let me repeat that again. 99% of the creation process is already complete before you see any evidence in your life. What do I mean by that? 99% of the things that you consciously think about, your desires, the things that you want to create in your life, has already been completed before you see any evidence in your life. How can we prove this? Let's show it. Let me show you how it works. So, a thought is electrochemical signals. Everything comes in through a thought. Everything comes in through an observation, through a perception, your awareness, or we call that consciousness, right? So let me say this first. We'll talk quantum physics here. I'm gonna make it very simple so you can get it and understand it, so you can change your life, so you can start to create by design instead of by default. All right, so check this out. So whatever you want, the things that you're thinking about, 99% of that has already been created. It exists in what's called an actual event in space-time. So what do I mean by that? All right, this is me, and this is space here. I am still occupying the same space and time. Even though I'm here, this space is also here. This space is a dimension. Within this space right here around me is teeming with energy and quantum life. Now, it's the same process. So the things that you want or desire, they are organized in some sort of space like this. And this is known as the Heisenberg uncertainty principle in quantum physics. So basically, just not to get too technical, it basically means that whatever you desire exists in electrons and quantum forms, and it's an event in space and time. So 99% of that's the creation is. That's what it is. And then when it comes in, that's the 1% that our visible eyes can detect and see in the spectrum of reality. That's how everything creates and works. We can never see the full range of reality. We're only perceiving a tiny fraction or a tiny percentage. So the minute when you see something comes into your physical life, 99% has already been done. What you're seeing is what's reflected in our reality through our visible light that our eyes were created, or basically our brains were tuned in to see that frequency. Beyond our natural eyes and our natural ability to see, there's so much different forms of energy and light and transparency that you and I cannot see it because of how our minds work. So if you just understood, or are you processing what I just told you? I literally just told you that the things that you are desiring, the visual images, the things you are creating right now, if you think a thought long enough, it creates the event, the same thing you want. And then if you keep attaching momentum or energy to that thought, it becomes this physical thing that you see in reality. What do you think about that? Fascinating stuff, right? Let's talk about thoughts a little bit more so we can really get a deeper understanding of it. So what is a thought made of, right? A thought is basically electrochemical proteins in the neurons of the brain. It sends an electrical signal off. But within a thought, it also has electrons. What is reality made of? Let's see. Electrons, protons, neutrons. See the picture here? all reality is made from these quantum particles. The very physical thing that I'm touching right now has electrons in it. Your thought is the same process. So when I say 99% of whatever you desire, it's already complete. But the thing that is preventing you is a tricky little part in the mind, ego, conscious mind. Because as human beings, we developed a see it first mentality. I have to see the proof first, then I will believe it. Nope. If you believe it first, then you will see it. It's whenever you believe it, you see it. It's not when I see it, I believe it. Again, backward training, backward conditioning of our minds. These are all backward. Now we know what's really happening. So this should give you some semblance of confidence and peace and know that, wait a minute, this guy here is telling me that whatever I've been thinking about is already done somewhere, but it's just in another dimension or something that I can't see it, I can't touch it right now. Yeah, I'm actually telling you that's true. I have the physics behind it to back it up. So how do you get from the 99% to the 100%? How can I get that into my reality? So if 99% of what I create is already there somewhere, is there a way that I can get it to speed up? Is there a way that I can delay it? Answer to both is yes, yes. So let's talk about speed it up to get it into your reality. So speeding up is an illusion. So you got to keep that in mind. It's how you look at it. So when you want to create something, the key to get it in what we call faster is the more energy or the more focus you put on that thing. Focus basically means your attention, and it's tied to your emotions of how you feel. Your feelings and your emotions are what I call the attention or the focus. Those will drive the creative process. So if you're thinking about something and you think about it consistently where you don't have this deep need emotion, you're in the perfect vibratory state and you're feeding energy to that. The continuous feeding of energy will create the momentum, and that's when it pops in and you get to see it. But if check this out. If our eyes, our brains were developed to take a full look at reality, you could actually think of a thought and immediately you could see it in the energetic form right in front of you. And then you could see when it transforms from the energetic form into the physical form. But we just don't have that capability. So in other words, we have the science and the math to show us this. So you have to understand that whatever you're creating or whatever you're thinking, the minute you think it and you apply a lot of energy to it, it automatically creates. Now let me say this. In order for something to be created in that 99%, it just means if you just think a random thought, it's already created. It means if you think something continuously, over and over, it now forms this energy because you're feeding it. And then that's when it pops into what we call that space and time of that different dimension, that actual event. So it takes a little bit of concentration and focus to do this. But your ego, because it's trained to see things before physical evidence or sees physical evidence, it gives you a lag. It gives you a false sense that it's not there. So you have to now start to acknowledge, have the awareness that whatever I want or desire, I've already created. So I keep giving it momentum, and boom, it's going to pop into your reality. So you see that, guys? That's the 99% rule that you can use right now to deliberately craft and master your world and start living your best life. Start creating abundance, start creating your purpose, start helping. Whatever you want to do, you can do it now, because we know now that the mind and the consciousness or the observable is all one. The observer is the observed. You are observing the observed. It's all connected. So you have that powerful message right there that you can use right now to change your life. Thank you.